Hi, welcome to Eyes On. On today's podcast, we've got
The Johnson brothers. We've got Patrick and Sean Johnson of Swazzle Inc.
They've built puppets and performed puppets on anything you've probably seen that involved puppets. They'll get into a lot of that, their resumes and stuff. But yeah, I don't think there was a bit of dead air during that conversation.
No, it's gonna be it's gonna be a tough one to edit. I'm not gonna lie.
Hey guys, welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
We're here with Sean Johnson and Patrick Johnson of Swazzle Inc. Puppeteers, who we've worked with for 15 years.
Yes, perhaps longer.
Something
Maybe
like
even
that.
longer. Yeah.
So guys, what's happening?
Thanks for asking, Tanner. How are you?
I like your podcast voice.
Yeah.
It's more
He
respectful
loosens
than
up
your.
as it goes on. Don't worry about it.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay, good.
What's
I like though you were very chatty about 5 minutes ago.
Camera's on. Tanner's quiet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is my professional aura and essence. This is my persona.
Okay.
On the podcast.
Can we bring his twin in here?
Yeah. Yes, that's right. I am also.
Well, I've got a way to break your aura. My goodness, here we go. Loosen up. We're on a podcast. Don't you know we're all supposed to start right away? There's no intros anymore.
No dead air.
No dead air.
For those of you who are just listening, the guys have puppets. We have a mole puppet.
Yes, my
Who's that
name
voice?
is Montgomery Mole.
Yes.
Yeah, and my name is Kittens, and I'm a cat.
And for those of you that are just
Kitten's the
listening,
cat.
remember, this is a video podcast too.
Yeah,
It is.
You're missing half of the experience.
Go to YouTube.
Go to YouTube and watch the video. For
Watch
this.
it on your Google
also,
glasses.
Well, because I would think if you guys talk in your normal voices, we should say that it will sound like one person interrupting themselves and talking over. So
Yes, exactly. You're right.
good luck. You're
right.
not going to really know who's saying
Right.
what.
That's
Yes.
a twin thing you understand completely.
Yeah.
We have two twins with very similar voices, and
So each time I speak, I'll say, "This is Patrick."
And I'll be in her left speaker.
you actually do sound a little bit different.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
My voice is slightly higher.
And mine is slightly smarter.
In fact, higher to the point that I did a little movie called Jungle Book. You ever heard of Jungle Book? John Favreau.
Yeah.
And we got to
That guy.
I was working as a puppeteer. Because, well, the whole thing was all virtual, and so they brought in puppeteers to interact with the actor because he was 11, and we had to be animals and everything. But we also got to do some voices. And so they brought us in the recording studio after the whole thing wrapped, and we just got to improvise a few lines. And I said this one line, which made it into the movie, which is cool. And then when I watched it in the theater, I was like, oh, they kept my line, but they replaced it with a woman. No, it was my voice.
And I was like,
I took it as a compliment. What do you mean, oh no?
I was in the theater. It just sounded like Sean was like speaking to me from like the far right speaker.
Yeah.
But you don't normally hear your voice in Dolby surround,
What was the character? I mean, it's been.
It was just a little. It was a gazelle.
Yeah.
And the line was, "He walks on two legs." All right. Now you guys can watch the movie and listen to that one line as they're going to the watering hole.
Okay.
Okay, well, this is a question that I want to ask. When you're puppeteering,
Yeah.
how often is it your voice? How often is it that you're, matching a pre-recorded track or
What they
replaced
call
later?
they call the scratch track.
Yeah. Puppeteers, puppet builders. We do have a company, Swazzle Inc., and we've been doing puppets since we were kids.
So we're 13. We're 14 now. It's been a busy year.
Exactly. But when we're performing, any different way that you can imagine can happen. In fact, when we worked with you guys in different productions, you've kind of seen any different way that it could happen.
Sure.
When you're performing a puppet on set, sometimes you're performing it live with a live microphone and you're performing the voice and the actions and everything. Sometimes you're doing it live on set to then be replaced later by an actor. Sometimes you're doing we did a show called Crank Yankers. We did built and performed puppets for the last 2 seasons that ran.
Season 5 and 6 now on Paramount Plus, soon to be Skydance Plus. Maybe I don't know. Went
We'll
from
see.
CBS All Access to Paramount. To
I guess it could
we
change
don't know.
again.
Who
Yeah.
knows?
And for a show like that, they play it back. They edit the audio in advance. They get all the comedians, they record all the audio, and then they pipe it in like a music video. We have to memorize all the timing because when you're memorizing a song, you have rhythms and beats to match and meet.
Yeah.
But when you're doing human voice, especially people you're just cold calling and a crank call to match someone going like, "Well, I who is this?" You have to figure out how to time that out and make it feel naturalistic for the puppet. So when you're performing on a puppet on a set, there's any different ways in which those voices and performance can be combined.
So we just our puppet is in a short film that's now making the circuit, or depending upon when this drops, just finished the circuit, or
Yeah.
it was a great year, or
year
a good
ago.
year, a year ago. Who knows when?
Happy holidays, by the way. Hope you had a good holiday. How was your summer? Is summer nice?
So it's a live action short called Your Own Flavor. And the cool thing about it is there's a puppet in it. It's not for kids, so there's that. But we designed the puppet, we built the puppet, and then I performed and voiced, and Patrick assisted. So we got to perform the puppet. And then now we're also going around and, trying to make it to as many film festivals as we can to promote it.
And by the voice, you stayed the voice.
Yes. Yes.
Even the singing voice.
Even the singing voice. But, little industry secret. We did the song in pieces. But this has been a really great project. We got involved through the producer of it, but we've worked with him in other capacities as puppeteers.
Brandon Dermer.
Yeah, his name's Brandon Dermer. He's a director, but we did 2 Panic at the Disco music videos with him. So he has a good relationship with Brandon Urie, not Brendan Urie, not Brandon. It was the Brendan and Brandon.
Yeah.
Anyhow, so we've done puppetry on 2 music videos, and we got to know him, and then we've done some other projects with him as well. So when they're getting this, he's producing this short, and they needed a puppet. He called us hey, we need a short. We're doing a short. You don't have any money for this. You guys,
What?
I know, short film, no money.
Yeah.
This is a passion project type thing. And,
Yeah.
And he's like, do you guys know any young, hungry puppeteers that would want to do this? I said, well, we're hungry, but we're not young. We'll do
One of the
it.
two.
Yeah. This look, we always it's always better to do something than not do something.
When you've decided that puppetry is going to be your career, then you carve out any opportunity you can find, either ones you create yourself or opportunities working with other people.
Yeah.
There's more power and more opportunity when you say yes and find a way to say yes than convince yourself and talk yourself out of it. We always say
There's always-
we'd much rather find a way to do something than to come up with ways why something can't be done.
Yeah, like a friend would say, of ours, when a door opens, walk through it. Or also follow the green lights.
Yeah.
And that's why you're at the Capitol on January 6th. You were just following the green lights.
Just following it, just going with the flow.
We're not
Much
cutting, we're not
easier.
cutting that out. You look better without your moose horns on.
I disagree.
Wait. So take me right now through the state of the puppet industry.
So first of all, the puppetry industry right now is kind of how it's been since the beginning, in that it is an art form that has existed since the beginning of time, is always in danger of being replaced by something, and yet somehow endures because it itself is a medium in which people choose to use. So as far as where we have experienced an art entry point into puppetry, and especially into television and film, when we started doing puppet stuff, we started building puppets in our parents' garage because what we wanted to do. We love puppets. We were fans of Jim Henson. We loved the Muppets. He died in 1990 when we were young, impressionable 13-year-olds, which sort of devastated us. But we had an art teacher who understood how much he meant to us. And she remembers when we came to school one day, she said, the Johnson twins look sadder than I've ever seen them. Her name is Miss Brown. She was our art teacher. We actually just reconnected with her just this past year.
Yeah, she's doing a gallery show in Northern
Yeah, still.
California.
That's a
What's
good
that?
one
On Tinder?
That's good.
Sorry, I stepped on your joke.
That's good. That's a good joke. Yes, actually. No. Yes, and when we came to school that day after Jim Henson had died, she saw we were just sort of ashen-faced and in shock. And so she set us aside in the corner in the art room and got us working on an art project. And she worked it out with all of our teachers that we wouldn't be going to other classes that day. We're going to stay in the art room and work on stuff. And she said to us, look, sometimes when there's an artist out there or someone who work you respect dies, some of their stardust can fall down on you. And so she pulled us aside and said, let's just work on work out our feelings and our emotions on an art project. And we started building puppets. That night we went home and built our first sock puppets. We'd put on videos of old Muppet shows and stuff that our parents had taped off of TV and started building puppets. And then from there, we started performing shows wherever we could. We're from the Bay Area in San Leandro. We go to the library or the recreation center and just offer free puppet shows to whoever would take it. Eventually found our way to the San Francisco Bay Area Puppeteers Guild, believe it or not, there is a club of puppeteers.
It's a club, not an official guild.
Yeah. And then we met people who'd worked on Muppet projects. Nightmare Before Christmas was happening at the Bay Area at the time, or had just happened, and met a lot of people in that creative world. And then went to a Puppeteers festival, learned about puppetry and puppet building techniques, and a lot of the skills that we employ today, whether we're building puppets for shows like Kidding on Showtime, or Crank Yankers for Comedy Central, or Waffles and Mochi on Netflix, all of those skills that we are incorporating right now into our puppetry started from that initiation, that kickoff with our art teacher who inspired us to move and explore our art.
So if
And
Jim
also,
Henson hadn't died, you guys
We would be making more money at
accountants?
DreamWorks.
Yeah, so we were
is what
always
you're
interested
saying.
in cinema and filmmaking. Like we loved matte paintings and behind the scenes stuff and animation.
Yeah, and one
but it
thing-
wasn't Muppet specific until that event.
And one thing, I would say is when we were growing up in the Bay Area, it was really a hotbed of creativity. So Industrial Light and Magic. Now it's a big office complex with a bunch of computers. But back then it was a small place that you could go in and peek through the window and see the Millennium Falcon and Jabba the Hutt in a creature shop. Nightmare for Christmas was made in San Francisco. We got to tour the sets of James and the Giant Peach, which was also made in San Francisco in an old warehouse building.
Wait, so when you talked to Mrs. Brown,
Yeah.
did you tell
Mrs.
her,
Brown.
Ms. Brown, that this she was the moment that
Yes.
like set
Oh, yeah.
your,
Yes.
How'd
Yeah.
she take that? I mean, that's
She-
gotta be a huge moment for a
It
teacher.
was, yeah. She was very happy to hear that. She actually now part of what she does as a teacher is do college prep and helps get kids ready to create portfolios and stuff so they can go to art schools and things like that. So she was very happy and she's been in touch with some of her past students. One of her students is a big person over at Pixar and has done a lot of work in, I think, directing and animation in that studio. So, it was very nice for her to know that we're out in the world and doing stuff. And teachers make a difference.
Yep.
Education makes a difference. Teachers make a difference. Self-starting is one thing also too, but also having the right people at the right time to push you in the right direction, and then also be willing to kind of follow those green lights and see where the river takes you.
But that's about breaking into the industry. I think that's the biggest
Oh
tip.
yeah,
It's
there
like
is no
those-
break-in. It's how you do it. Everyone does it differently.
It's an
Yeah,
easy.
well,
yeah.
but it is all about those free things that you
That's
like
right.
project
Yeah.
that you work on for a
Yes.
friend, and then
And by the way,
grows.
Yes.
and by the way, it's the people you meet.
And the industry works in that way.
Right.
It's all about the connections. Like we always say, like we worked on a show, Kidding, for Showtime.
Yeah,
But
I
we
want to talk
didn't-
about that.
Starring Jim Carrey.
Yeah, Jim
Yes,
Carrey, Michelle
yes.
Gondry,
Yeah.
incredible cast, incredible production. One of the largest projects we've worked on. It all shot at the Sony lot. But we say we worked on Kidding. We didn't work on Kidding. We worked with that director, that actor, that production designer, that editor, that sound mixer. We worked with that grip. We worked with that prop master. We worked with the choreographer.
Yeah, because the shows come and go.
Yeah,
And then
but-
the people scatter to the wind. And then if you've had a good relationship with those people, suddenly, a one project can be 500 contacts.
Yeah, because, for example, Mandy Moore, who is the choreographer, Mandy Moore, who did La La Land, was also a choreographer for an episode of Kidding. And so she was great. I got to tell her how much I love La La Land.
Oh, I just worked with her.
Oh, yeah, she's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
we worked
I
with
saw
Dancing
that,
with the Stars.
I saw
Yeah.
that on your Instagram.
Yeah.
Damn social media.
So she's amazing. And she had been contacted to do, while we were on Kidding, she had been contacted to do work for a Disney production of Little Mermaid Live that was going to be shot at the Disney studio. And she's like, well, okay, I don't know if I have time for this. And they said, and there's a bunch of puppets as well. Well, she said, well, I can recommend someone, blah, blah, blah. So we came to that production via her recommendation. We didn't work on Kidding thinking we were going to meet a choreographer who was going to then know our name to recommend us for another production. But that's you working with the people. It's the people that matter. It's being with the people that matter. How you're with the people matters. Showing up, bringing your best. So we did our years in the Bay Area.
Yeah.
This is talking about what you said about, the changing of the industry. The industry's been changing left and right, but because we always have other things to do, live performance or whatever, there's always some kind of through line that we're in control of. If we are just waiting for a puppet job to come around, we would be in trouble. But since we're always trying to, make our own opportunities, we kind of
When
keep
you
a
guys
constant.
build for other and rent out
Yeah,
puppets
but
all
we
the
didn't
time.
used to.
And
We-
would you
we-
call that your baseline, your safety net is the building?
Right
and
now,
selling
it used to
and
be puppet
renting?
shows,
Yeah.
and now it's puppet building.
What we
But
say
for-
is some people say, like, how do you have a career in puppetry? I say there's no such thing.
Yeah.
There is no such thing as a career in puppetry. You need to hire yourself and make it yourself.
Yeah.
when we,
yeah.
after growing up in the Bay Area, doing our library shows, we thought we want to work in film and television. we can do it in the Bay Area, but we know there's a lot more opportunities at the time there was in LA. So the 2000, we moved down, but we needed to build some connections. And so what we did is we reached out to lots of different companies of people that we had known or friends of ours. One of them was the Chiodo Brothers.
Yep.
Chiodo. Look them up. They did animation for Elf. So the Chiodo Brothers shop that we worked in, when Pee Wee Herman, Paul Rubens, was getting ready to revamp his original stage show as a live show.
Pee Wee's Playhouse.
Yeah. Pee Wee's Playhouse to become the Pee Wee Herman show live. He was reaching out to lots of different, the production companies reaching out to lots of different folks. They reached out to the Chiodo Brothers. And then we had heard about it as well through puppeteer friends of ours. And we talked with the Chiodos and we said, look, if there's something that needs to be built, but because we wanted to do this job, we can help you by building some of the soft foam puppets. And they could, so really that job became three major shops doing it. Chiodo Brothers did the stuff that was kind of perfect for them. Globy. They
Magic
did
Screen.
Magic Screen, kind of the real
Mr.
technical,
Window.
mechanical creature stuff. They had another shop, Alex and Wonderland, that did the larger Cherry and Conky, the full body characters.
Yep.
And our company, Swazzle, did the soft foam puppets. So we did the fish, we did Terry,
The flowers?
Pterodactyl.
we did
Yeah.
the flowers, we did the Clocky. And
It was 20 puppets in all that we ended up making.
and because of this opportunity to build, when you build something, the nice thing is we had a friend of ours say to us that everyone knows if you're doing a production with puppets, everyone knows they need puppets, but nobody knows they need puppeteers. They always
Sure.
think, oh, we need a puppet.
Once
for
you
this.
get the puppet on set, then it just talks on its
Who's
own.
going to perform this thing?
Yeah.
And so the nice thing about being someone who builds first, there's also, you're on the ground floor of what's happening next when it comes to shooting, performing, or whatever.
Yeah.
So we were on the ground floor for that. We were learning about what puppets were being formed, what characters they needed. So when it came time, we were responsible for staffing the puppeteers for that
And then
live production.
like talking about working with the people, that was directed by Alex Timbers, who has gone on to direct like Moulin Rouge on Broadway,
Beetlejuice on Broadway.
Beetlejuice, and
He's a Broadway director.
yeah, Broadway director. And so then we were invited because he was going to be at one point directing Frozen on Broadway, and it went a different way. But we were invited by Disney Theatrical to basically, they gave us a minuscule budget to pitch what would the puppets be for Frozen on Broadway. So that was one of our little secret projects that never saw the light of day, but we got to make a bunch of puppets the way we would envision them. We had some pretty cool ideas. I think our idea for
That's okay.
it isn't. Anyway, we had some fun ideas, but ultimately we got to go. They flew us to New York. They put us up. We got to pitch to the head of Disney Theatrical, and so who knows? Like you just go one opportunity.
And as far as
hang
how
on, I
our-
do want to get back to one thing.
That's what I was going to get to. How we formed a company.
No, not that. Your
I'm
original
trying to answer your question.
Hang on. Before we took his little sidetrack, the change in the industry. Wow. The way I would say it this way is 2 months ago, we made our first puppet based off an AI design. So that's one thing that has changed. It used to be if you
And you
needed
mean someone submitted, a client
Yes.
submitted
Yes.
AI? Okay.
Yes.
an AI design.
Yeah.
And it never existed before until some computer hallucinated it.
Yeah.
And then it was real because we made it. So the funny joke that we have, it's not funny, but the thing we say is like, they have this design, it looks real, looks like it exists. And we're like, great, print it.
Oh, so it was like a photo real
Oh, yeah.
image of
It
this.
looked like a done puppet.
Look at it done puppet.
Finished.
Wow.
And then we're like, cool, print it.
It's so easy. I
Yeah.
mean, you can take a photo and you can say, make this into
right,
a Henson style puppet.
You
And
can
it's
take a
like, just do
drawing
it.
and say, make this into a puppet.
Now, there's a good thing and a bad thing. The bad thing is you have designers who would get paid money, and even we are designers as well, where we would take a fee to say, okay, what is your idea? And someone would, do Google and they'd submit a mood board, and you would, okay, it's blue, it needs to do this, and blah, blah, blah. And he's kind of crazy. And you kind of say, you do some iterations, like with your hand, and you like 10 roughs, and they go, oh, I like this, can we do that? And then you do cleanup, and then you do color, and then you make it. And all those things is something that we charge for. So now it's easy. People can speak into a computer. I want all those things, and I want it to look realistic and all that. But the good side of that is it removes a stumbling block for someone who's not naturally creative. I mean, we're in an industry where we're surrounded by creative people all the time, but that's not the case in the real world. People are not necessarily have all those tools at their fingertips. They might have the idea, but they can't realize it. So now we're making a puppet that perhaps would have never existed because the person who was having it made, I can't draw, and I don't really know how to do that, and I just have this thought. So now it takes something out. It takes a non-creative person and gives them the creative ability, and now we're creating a puppet from it. So there's good and bad. I mean, everything is a tool. Color cinema is a tool. Sound is a tool. 3D
Podcasting is a tool.
Yeah, microphone. You
are a tool. And as far as the company founding, so we started as a puppet performance company. We did puppet shows. That was our main business. We incorporated in 2010.
2010.
Yeah, and
Here in LA.
In LA, yeah. And the idea was, we were surprised when the first person contacted us saying, "Can you build me a puppet?" We're like, "Oh, build puppets for someone else? We never thought about that. We always thought of us building puppets for ourselves." And that was sort of the leap we made. Like, oh, we can do that thing we're doing for ourselves and open up a market by doing it for other people.
In fact, a friend of ours, Artie, is a puppeteer friend of ours. You know him well. He's like, when did you guys decide to open a shop? Because eventually we had a little warehouse space in Glendale, 1,000 square feet. And he's like, when did you decide to open a shop? And it's like, well, we didn't. But we just needed more space to make the puppets for the shows we were already doing. And then suddenly like, oh, well, now we have a space. Why don't we make Little Shop of Horrors puppets to rent to theaters? And then suddenly people were like, hey, can you make, we're like, sure, I guess we can make a puppet for this thing. So it sort of evolved naturally.
And it was all word of mouth, right? Kind of like us. Like you didn't.
Well, we had a website.
Did you do marketing though? But you
No,
never.
no.
You never
always-
did outreach to studios and.
Well, we do some reach
now
out
we
to
do.
ad
Yeah,
firms
we
and
reach out
such.
to ad firms. And,
Yeah, but really what it is first of all, the puppet world is small.
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, the fact that, just by working with you guys on the projects that we've worked in, on, whether it's Little Big Awesome or Big Mouth, you've had a chance to work with and meet puppet people that.
like the cream of the crop.
Yeah, exactly.
Like the people.
Yeah, because it's a very small industry,
Yeah.
and the people that work at a certain level are all very good, and they all work on different projects. So as we have our company, but as puppeteers, we got to puppeteer on the Jason Segel Muppet movie. We got to puppeteer on Muppets Most Wanted, the sequel. We got to work on the Muppet ABC series that came out a couple years later. We've done Facebook commercials with the Muppets. Here we are, people who were inspired by the work of Jim Henson, that were told by our art teacher to explore your art, now suddenly performing in a pit, surrounded by the people that we watched when we were 13 years old on television, and now we're working side by side with them, not just stand there to do nothing, but to actually perform.
Yeah. In high school, we were watching The Mask. Cut to 30 years later, we're working with Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
And also because we build, we have had other opportunities to build for places like the Jim Henson's Creature Shop. So we were, working months on the Netflix Dark Crystal series that they did. We've done, many commercials for them as builders, TV shows, multiple projects. We made puppets for Puppet Up. The very first puppet that I built at Jim Henson's Creature Shop is a puppet that is in Puppet Up. And that was like in 2005 or something.
Yeah.
And what's Puppet Up?
Puppet Up
It's
is
a
a
comedy
Brian
show.
Henson's puppet improv show. And we were involved in that for
Oh, yeah.
And Avenue
Yeah.
Q
It was
too,
like
right? Don't you
in
build for Avenue
Hollywood,
Q
right?
or no?
Yeah,
Or
it was-
we have rental puppets for Avenue Q that we rent to productions
Right.
that license the show from MTI.
Yeah, so
yeah.
just like our Audrey 2 puppets, we have puppets for Shrek the Musical, things like that, shows
Yeah.
that need puppets.
Yeah.
We're considering whether or not we're going to make some Beetlejuice puppets when that starts to go out for
Because you need a
license.
giant sandworm to do that show. And
Yeah.
either you find someone's dad who's crafty at your high school to make the sandworm.
By the way, that would be me.
Yes.
I'm hoping that my son's
Son.
school does
Yes.
one of these shows.
Call my dad.
Exactly. Or you rent it from a company like us.
Yeah.
So that Henson improv show that they were just playing in Culver City recently, but that was our first entree into the Jim Henson Company, where they needed some new puppets for this show. They were starting up Puppet Up. We had made some connections, which had eventually got us into the fold of those folks knowing us as performers. And Brian's like, oh, we need some people to make some puppets, but we don't have a big budget. We're like, we'll do it. We'll do it for free. Well, they can't do it for free. Insurance, blah, blah. It's a real company. So they basically paid us minimum wage.
That was my first minimum wage job, was building puppets at
Jim Henson's Creature Shop. That's when the smaller satellite shop was on the lot
in Hollywood.
in
at the
Hollywood,
Hollywood Studio.
Chaplin
Wow.
Studios.
Chaplin, yep.
In the
The one that's got the Kermit.
Yeah, the
That's
former
right.
scenic shop for the Chaplin.
That's right.
Studio.
And that the barn as they called it, is the oldest continually operational building in all of Los Angeles.
Because the rest have been torn down.
Look at that history.
Real history. And so we got to make puppets there just based off a few. They're kind of, funny monsters, and Patrick made an alien. But the cool thing is, at this time, the Henson Company had just sold the Muppets to Disney.
Right.
Think how long ago that was. And on our first day, we saw bolts of material going out the door. It was Muppets on the bolt. It was like Gonzo, Fozzie, fur, fleece, just
So
like
you can recognize it. You know exactly.
Yeah, there's no doubt what was in that box.
Yeah. So, but the cool thing is we worked with a builder. Her name is Jane Gutnick. She's still one of the primary builders and puppet wranglers for the now Muppet Studio, but she had worked with Jim Henson, back in the day. And she's the one that taught us, like, okay, here's how we do it. Because we came in with our knowledge that we had gained through the years, but then she's like, okay, here's how we do it. But the cool thing is, the first puppet that I made for the Jim Henson Company, years later, on Brian's R-rated puppet movie, the Happy Time Murders.
Happy Time Murders.
Oh, yeah.
I got to perform that puppet on set with Brian Henson directing. And it kind of became this whole full circle thing where I got to perform the first one that I made there on set. And it's in the movie.
Yeah. Wow.
And
If you've seen it, which no one saw.
And it's been on my queue.
When you talk about meeting people like Jane Gutnick, and we talk about our puppet building, it's interesting because when we started, we were self-taught. We were sort of aimless, not knowing what we were going to do. That kind of got us to the point where we attended a Puppeteers festival and learned puppetry building techniques. Learning all that stuff got us all the way up to Henson's Creature Shop, 2005. Then we learned from Jane and other people there at the shop, and that got us to the next level. And as far as the next level of our puppet building, where we are now, what we learn now is from the people we work with.
Right.
Like, it started self-taught, some formal instruction, a little guidance, and now the most of what we learn is, how are you doing that? Are you cutting that way? Oh, using this, blah, 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 blah. And that's where your skills really develop, when you're starting to learn from your peers.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
What are your aspirations next?
To make our own show. I mean, that's really what we want to do. So one thing that would really point to our aspirational goals is, a couple years ago we did this children's book. So it was a Kickstarter in 2018. We got it funded to the tune of $40,000. It was a children's book called Merry Christmas Krampus. We worked with Andrea Coleman, who is an artest, who also designed the Huggermucker Pier.
Yep.
Another project that
you
all worked on.
Yep.
That was through Disney. And Artie Esposito. And so the four of us created this children's book. Artie and I wrote the text. Andrea did the designs. Patrick did all this Photoshop layout. And then the vision we had for the book was to have it tactile and real. So we made little puppets and posed them like stop motion characters. We made models and sets. Matt Schleicher, who was a constant collaborator with you guys, shot it at his little studio. He had a little studio space. And it was all photographs. And then we made the book. We had the money from the backers to get it published and shipped out, and it is done. Now, our vision for that is perhaps to make a holiday special or feature film or something more with it. The good thing is we have the book.
Yep.
So if nothing happens with it, I can still pull that book out. It's real. It exists. It's in the world. So,
which is so nice, because how many pitches have we all done?
Yes,
Right.
And all you have is a document.
All you have is a
done.
document, a
Right.
PDF,
a PDF that sits
that's
on a
right.
computer.
And that's what we said. We said, I want something more than a PDF.
I love
Yeah,
that.
just like the short film we worked on with you guys is, at least we had a short film when all was said and
it all
done.
exists.
2019 was the year that will never come back. It was the year that we had the craziest year we've ever had. In 1 year, Kidding, Crank Yankers, Waffles and Mochi, on our own, Little Mermaid Live, throw in a Facebook commercial with the Muppets. Like, it was
We did our
crazy.
And then the
We did-
pandemic.
We did our Krampus book that year.
And the pandemic pulled the brakes on everything.
Yeah.
What was interesting, we noticed post-pandemic, we haven't worked on any of those real large kind of marquee known projects, but we've stayed just as busy with just as many clients. But instead, who are we building for? YouTube people, churches, homeschoolers, museums, institutions, zoos. So because
a songwriter in Canada who has a YouTube channel called The Treebees that gets millions of views that we made three puppets for.
So whether
yeah.
the puppet itself that we create is on a show that people have seen on their streaming service or just on their internal church programming, the experience for us is kind of the same.
Yeah.
We're very busy designing, creating, and building puppets for projects that many people maybe in a large scale haven't heard of, but have a dedicated audience base all to their own.
And what I would say too, sort of like what's our aspiration. I also sometimes, maybe you guys as business owners see this too, but I sort of see the business as the project. Like the project is the product. I mean, the projects that come in, that's the product that the business creates, but the business is like the overall project.
Yeah.
You know, and our business we have a website. We have, Rachel Herrick, who's worked with us for 5 years as in this capacity, but even longer as a puppeteer. You know, she's our production coordinator. She works remote, which is great. And then we have a costumer who, Liza Dally, who we've worked with her since 2019 or 18. And she does our costume. She's in LA. So we'll say, hey, we're sending the body to you. She does this because we're in Northern California now. But one of the ways the industry changed as well is while there is so much importance in being in the same room with each other, there's also, we've sort of been able to adapt to some of the newer ways of doing business. So we made this puppet for a, what is it?
A goth drag queen.
Boom.
Goth?
Goth.
Okay.
Drag queen.
Yeah.
Tabitha the Witch.
It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, pretty cool puppet. And it had some pretty complicated, eye blinks and that kind of stuff. So what do? So we had a studio that we know in Orange County do some 3D sculpting with ZBrush and such. Sent that up to some good friends of ours who are in Sonoma, a company called Images in Motion. They used that digital file to print the mold. Then they were able to run the foam. They sent that to Culver City, where we have a great guy who does mechs. His name is Greg Ballora, puppeteer. And he did the IMEX and everything. All that got sent to us. We bring it all together, bring the puppet parts together, the foam, the fleece, everything, send it to our costumer in LA. And she creates the costume. It comes back to us, send photos to the client. And then it goes.
They want it all done all over again.
Yeah.
That does happen. That
I
can
know it
happen.
happens. I
Yeah,
mean,
it happens.
Yeah, well, because it goes back to kind of like when you're working with marquee characters like The Simpsons
Yeah.
or even Pee-wee.
Yeah.
People know these characters so
Yeah.
well. You're not inventing something new. So when you're working for a client, like there's got to be an iteration. I'm thinking like Pee-wee, for example. Like these things existed at one point.
Oh, yeah.
Are you given? I mean, obviously, with some shows they don't have them as puppets, so they can't give you schematics or anything. But like Pee-wee, for example, the clock and stuff. Are you just looking at photos and
Yes.
going, really?
Yes.
Yes.
Photos.
No one had any hints to
No.
give you and go, this is how we did this.
Some source. Sometimes they have behind the scenes. We actually had some great photos from the former prop masters, dresser who had Polaroids. From the day of shooting the Pee-wee's Playhouse that we could look at to understand
and like
size
they had the
and
backs
scale.
and everything, so they had
Some behind the scenes stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
But then a project like Big Mouth that we all did together, that was a current working production. So
Right.
they had, here's our colors.
We had
here's-
character turnarounds. We had
I know,
we had
right?
Pantone colors for
Yes,
fur. And
yes.
what's interesting is you're in the animated world, anything can happen at any time.
Yes.
Whereas the puppet world, it has to be physical at some element.
Yes.
So when you're taking a Big Mouth character going, well, this doesn't actually, Big Mouth characters don't work in 3D because they're designed to be in an animated space where you can cheat on that turn. Whereas suddenly you have to figure out the math to go, how do I make it look like this character when it's in a 3/4 back?
These
of
giant
view
heads with these
that is-
skinny necks
exactly.
and skinny
yeah.
shoulders.
Yeah, how do you
and-
expand things, contract things? What furs look right? What fur moves right? What fur is the right color but the right texture? Blah 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 blah. And now you have to perform it and create a performance that feels like
the character in
as
the
well.
cartoon.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. That was just interesting as we went through that process. And
Yeah.
Getting on the call and talking about, the nose is a little this
Yes.
way, and then
It
you're
was
talking
all
to
virtual. It was like a hot.
Oh yeah,
like,
yeah,
That was
pandemic.
deep in the pandemic.
Yeah,
we did
that
We had
call-
shields and masks and
Remember
divided eating
when
areas.
we ate lunch.
Yeah.
We had all those
Yeah.
booths for
Yeah.
individuals.
testing every day. That call
Yeah.
for that project. So the animation company Titmouth,
Titmouse.
who folks might know from Big Mouth is one of their big
Mouth,
shows. They
Little Big
do.
Awesome.
Little
Yeah.
Big Awesome, and they also do the Star Trek animated Lower Decks.
Lower Decks.
So we worked with them on quite a few things, but they called us. It was like March 2020. So like, and the cool thing is that sort of became like our pandemic project. So we were building it. We had our costumer do it, but like trying to figure out how do we make this all work, and then coming down and shoot with you all.
Did we tell you we went to for your consideration Emmy screening of our Big Mouth episode?
Oh, nice.
Cool.
Yeah. We didn't tell you this?
Oh, you probably did.
Oh, okay. So we went and were you
I have
with
brain
me?
fog.
Yeah, I was. I forgot
Yeah.
about it. Yes.
We go in,
We
it's all
got
nice,
pictures
they
because
had
the puppets were
food
then in the cases.
in
Nice.
glass
Wow.
cases,
And-
and we watched it, and it was like all these baby boomers crowded in there to watch it, and it did not play.
That's the wrong crowd. That's the wrong crowd.
So the wrong crowd.
No, yeah, you need
So
the younger
inappropriate.
audience.
It's
We had a
big
fun
mouth.
experience. So when you build something, there isn't anything precious about the puppet that you're building. It's a tool. I mean, it's a piece of art, yes, but it's a piece of art that's meant to be used. We always say the puppeteer's job on set is to break the puppet.
Yeah.
Like, just use it. Don't be precious with it. This is your job.
Like a pair of jeans. If you walked around all day going like, oh, I can't.
Barely.
Yeah.
I don't want to be careful. I don't
better
wanna,
not sit
I
on
don't
that
wanna,
bench. Won't want to rip my jeans. So, so you treat it like you don't treat it like it's an expensive item. You drive it like you drive a car like it's a normal car. Like it's So what's nice is recently we got to visit in Seattle. The short film that we worked on was screening at the
That was the premiere.
premiere at the Seattle
Seattle
International
International
Film Festival. Sean will say it with me to make sure it's garbled.
stereo.
Again, I'm in your left ear.
And so we went to the Seattle International Film Festival. Now it's in the clear. Just kidding.
Give your editor something to do.
And then but what we learned at the time was there's the Museum of Pop Culture in Seattle, and they have an exhibit of pop culture items.
Yeah.
And our puppet that we built for the series, Michelle Obama's series, Waffles and Mochi.
Which is a Netflix series
Yeah.
produced by Barack and Michelle Obama's
Higher
production company.
yeah, Higher Ground.
Yeah.
And so what's cool is our Waffles and Mochi puppets that were built at our studio are now on display at a real museum.
At the Museum of Pop Culture?
Yeah, yeah,
No
yeah.
way.
And the kicker is they're
That's so cool.
sitting right next to a Muppet.
Yeah.
They
and
have
they're
a-
across the room from Darth Vader. So it's kind of cool.
Michael Jackson's shirt is across. It's like all these like icons of modern society, and our puppet is there.
Wow.
as
And
well.
the smartest thing we ever did is to stitch our logo into the neck sleeve of
Yeah,
the puppet.
yeah.
Because when you go to the exhibit, it
It's-
doesn't say Puppet by Swazzle on the thing, but
Sure.
if you look at it, you can see there's our
Right
name
there.
right there.
Guys, I think we got the signal that we got to wrap it up.
We got it
But it's great
repeatedly.
you brought it full circle and told the rest of that story, and I didn't have to do it for us. You know, you guys did it organically.
We'll just let him spin out. What are you saying?
I'm saying you guys are expert podcasters.
Oh, thank you.
Hey, let's say goodbye to the puppets. Let's say goodbye to the puppets.
Yeah, let's. Okay, so what are the names again?
My name is Montgomery Moore. I appreciate you remembering that. Should I call you Joel?
My name is Kittens.
Kittens the cat.
Kittens the
Well,
cat.
Kittens in Montgomery. Let's say bye to the cameras. Bye, everybody.
Goodbye.
What's
We'll
my
see
shingle?
you soon.
Where's my shingle?
Hey listeners, if you've got a burning question for Chris, Tanner, or one of our amazing guests, we want to hear from you. Slide into our DMs at Eyes On Podcast on Instagram, and we might just answer your question on our season finale wrap-up episode. Thank you so much for listening to Eyes On Conversations with Hollywood Filmmakers. Eyes On is hosted by Chris Hanada and Tanner Kling and produced by Simran Porwal Johnson and Jonathan Misrahi. The views, opinions, and comments expressed by guests on this podcast are their own and do not necessarily represent the views or opinions of Retrofit Films. This podcast may include copyrighted material used under fair use provisions. All copyrighted material remains the property of their respective owners.